Today we're gonna make a DIY makeup bag with the Cricut Maker. We'll cut all the parts out, pattern and everything using the Cricut Maker, and it's gonna be a fully lined zippered bag. So here's what you need. You need a piece of canvas fabric for the bottom and a piece of cotton fabric for the outside. You also need 2 more pieces of cotton fabric for the liner. You could use some fusible web to make the fabric stiffer, that's optional. You also need a pair of scissors and a 9-inch zipper. These instructions we're gonna print out in a little bit, so those come with the pattern. You'll also need some clips or pins to hold all the pieces together, and the Cricut fabric grip mat to hold your fabric in place while the Cricut Maker cuts it out. Go to the project cosmetic bag. It's linked in my blog post that's down here in the description. You can go to the project and all the instructions are there for how to cut the fabric. Now I'm going to walk you through how to do this on this video, but I just want to point out that those instructions are also here in the Cricut project in the Cricut Design Space. So here are those instructions, this PDF. I went ahead and printed that out. And then now you're ready to cut. So as soon as that's loaded into the Cricut Design Space, you can prep your fabric. So here I'm cutting my fabric with the grain following those instructions. You'll need an 11 by 12 inch piece for the sides, and you'll need a 8 by 11 inch piece for the bottom. So you can see the pieces I'm cutting out of the cotton fabric are a little bit bigger than the piece I cut out of the canvas. Now for the liner, I'm going to cut both pieces of fabric out of the same fabric piece. So I have the 11 by 8 and the 12 by 11 out of this same fabric I'm using for the liner. Put the fabric onto the Cricut mat face down with the selvage side or the grain going perpendicular to the machine. So you can see the white strip there, the selvage, is going perpendicular to how I'm going to put this in the machine. You want to carefully flatten out all of those wrinkles. You also want to make sure that you install the rotary blade into your Cricut. So take out whatever blade you have in there right now, put that rotary blade in and lock it into place. Then load your mat for the sides of the pattern first. So that's what it's going to cut first. Go ahead and turn off the fabric marking pin. If you are a beginner sewist, you'll definitely want to use the fabric marking pin to draw the lines on there for where you need to put the seams. But if you already know how to sew, you're not gonna want to bother with all those lines. So let the Cricut Maker do its thing. It's going to cut out all the pattern pieces for you, along with notches, etc., that you'll need to help match up all of those pieces. So just let it do its work. It's going to kind of roll around and cut all the pieces out for you. Now you'll also need to add that second piece of fabric to the mat and cut that second piece. And so this is the bottom of the bag, and I'm cutting the liner pieces first. So this is going to be the bottom inside of the bag. So I cut everything out of the same color or the same type of fabric for the inside so that it looks like it's professionally lined. And again, you can kind of see how it's like cutting all those little notches and cutting all of the different pieces that make up that kind of H-shaped base of the bag pattern. Now I'm going to be cutting the sides of the bag. This is for the outside, and then I will cut the piece of canvas that's going to form the bottom of the bag itself. Now you may get some strings as you're doing this, so you can minimize that if you do put that interfacing on the back of your fabric before cutting it. But you don't have to do that with Cricut Maker, and that's one of the things that I really, really love about the Maker. Other brands of cutters I have tried to use before, I had to put interfacing on the back or something, fusible web or something to kind of hold it all together, but you don't have to do that with the Maker. The fabric grip mat is really strong, so it's going to hold that fabric in place while it's doing all of these rotary cuts. And if you've ever used a rotary cutting blade to cut your fabric, then you'll know that this is kind of like that, but in miniature. So because I'm using cotton like broadcloth on the outside, and I'm changing to a different fabric type for this base of the bag, I need to make sure that you change the fabric type in the Cricut Maker before you cut this. So if I tried to cut this on the cotton setting that I had before, it wouldn't cut out all the way. So you need to make sure if you're going to change the fabric types, like say maybe you had leather on the bottom of the bag, that you make sure you change that setting in the Cricut Maker before you send it to cut. Because if I had this set to cotton, it wouldn't cut all the way through, because this canvas is much thicker than the cotton that I was using before. So once everything's all finished, you'll get a little check mark here in the software that will say that it's done. You can use the button on the machine to pull the mat out of the machine. So pull all the pieces off, and if there's any little weird edges, trim those. And match the notches up from the sides of the bag to the bottom of the bag. So that H-shaped piece here, that is the bottom of the bag. So we're gonna match those notches up for the sides and pin it in place. And then you're gonna do that for the inside. This is the liner, and you'll also do that for the outside and that canvas base. Once you have those pinned together, just stitch along those pinned lines. You're gonna have a 3/8 inch seam. So just sew, right along those, remove the pins, trim any extra strings. I like to be a tidy sewer, so I trim every single time that I sew. I don't wait till the end, I just trim every single time that I run something through. And so once you have each of those sewn, so this is the liner that I'm sewing that last little 3/8 inch seam on. Once you have all of those done, then you're going to want to press them, and you're going to want to press the seams up. So if you imagine this blue part is the bottom, I need the seams on the left pointing to the left and the seams on the right pointing on to the right. So you're just going to press that with a nice warm steamy iron. I have this on the cotton setting. And then on the top edges that are raw, that don't have any notches in them, you need to press a 1/4 inch like hem. And so you're just gonna press that down, and then we're gonna tack this down with the sewing machine in a little bit. So do that on this outside part and on the liner, the same thing. You're gonna press those seams up, and then you will add that 1/4 inch fold at the top of each side. And this will work a lot better, and probably would have been smarter on my part to have ironed this before I even cut it. You could see that I was struggling a little bit with the mat in the beginning to get this to stick without any wrinkles. So press it ahead of time, it's gonna make life easier. Once you have those pressed, just stitch down that seam. And you can see I'm getting pretty close to the fold there. This is just gonna give it a nice finished look, so that when you fold this over, it's gonna be nice and finished. And this is really for like if the bag was not gonna have a liner, but this is just gonna make it look even nicer once we have it all done. So once you have that stitched, you're gonna fold it over again about 3/4 of an inch to an inch down, just before those notches on the side, and press it in place. So we're not gonna totally stitch this down. We're gonna use a based stitch, which is just a very, very wide stitch, just to tack it down, and you can use a seam ripper to take this out at the very, very end. So I wanted you to see how wide those stitches are. Now, before we go any further, you want to tack down this the side fabric to that bottom base fabric, the canvas, on the outside of the bag. So just stitch across on each side. Next, we're going to pin the liner right side up to the back of the zipper. So if you can see that zipper pull is backwards, we want to be pinning this to the back, and we're going to sew it to the back. There's a lot of different ways you can put zippers in, but this is the easiest way I found when working with these little bags, and you can churn a lot of these out. So I made a bunch so that you don't have to make a bunch, and this was the easiest way that I found. So you're just going to use the zipper foot on your sewing machine and stitch the liner to each side of the back of that zipper, removing the pins as you go along. And I wish I had gotten a better shot of this for you guys, because all you can see is my super meaty hand, but hopefully this will give you an idea of what needs to be done. And if you want to learn how to sew a zipper with a zipper foot, I'm sure there's like a ton of tutorials here on YouTube that you could go and check out. So, and I may even have a video. I'm not even sure if I have a video of that or not anymore. All right, so once you have that sewn on, turn it inside out, and you're going to now pin the outside fabric for the bag to the outside top of the zipper. So the zipper will be right side up, and you're gonna basically sandwich the zipper between that liner and this outside fabric. So I'm pinning it in place, and we're gonna go ahead and sew that once this is pinned in place. Now, you do want to leave about a 3 to 4 inch opening on one side of this zipper, so that we can turn the whole thing inside out once we're done sewing it. So I'm going to go ahead and sew the zipper down this one side, and then I'll sew it down the other side just part of the way so that it's still open, so I can turn it later. So now you want to turn the whole thing inside out, and that way you have the liner sticking out one side and then the outside sticking out the other side. And you're just going to stitch down the side of each of these parts to close it up. And so when you get to the zipper, you're just going to kind of have to go over the zipper. I kind of lift the presser foot and go right over. I don't just sew over it. Now, after you have those done, you're going to close these gussets on the bottom. So you can see that it's kind of like a L shape, and you're going to pinch it and pull it so that that seam flattens out into a straight edge, sew that with the sewing machine closed, and then you can see here I have that gap. So you're gonna do 4 of those edges, sew those closed, and then in that gap I'm gonna turn the whole thing right side out and then push down inside the bag, push all those corners through just with my finger to try to get it to get the nice shape of the makeup bag. And so here you can see that part that's still open. You'll want to pin that closed and then go ahead and stitch that carefully with the sewing machine, because this is going to be visible on your finished bag. So just kind of, you know, start the needle where the seam had left off previously and then sew all the way to the edge. So if you've never sewn anything before, this is a pretty easy project for you to go ahead and get started with, and it's a very satisfying one. It only takes about an hour to do the whole thing, and you have a cute little bag at the end. So you can see my bag with the liner. I added this fun little tassel, and you can see this bag is just fun and versatile and easy. You could even add an iron-on monogram to it if you wanted to use it like in your car. And over on the blog post that I have linked down below, I have a whole list of supplies that you can put into a car emergency kit. And so my vision for these is to make one for each of our cars and then put some iron-on monogram or a name on the bottom of each one so we know which one goes to which car. So if you liked this video, I'd love it if you gave me a thumbs up, hit that subscribe button, and if you want to see more tutorials like this, click on the videos that are playing on your screen right now. See you again soon. Bye.